So the design of this new paddock, we tried to fold in some of the elements of a paddock paradise. It's not true to form where they're on track, which is a double fence that they would be moving throughout the day to different feeding sites and then having their water on one end, so they're having to do loops. But the main points are to keep horses moving throughout the day. That's how they stay healthy. So we created a fence line that's more going with the land instead of just a rectangle, and makes it so they have longer routes to each feeding site. And all of the feeding sites are on one end, sprinkled throughout one end of the paddock. And they have to travel quite a distance to go all the way to the watering hole on the far end of the paddock. So right now we have, 4 posts set up for hanging nets, and there's some spots in the far ends of the paddock that we haven't gotten poles set up for nets yet, but we want to put those in so they've got more spots to walk to and eat. It keeps them moving. Well, the construction project, the fence design itself mutated over time when we started it. We started the project we got quite a few of the posts in the layout, and then we got the first rain of the year after a pretty long drought. We hadn't seen rain forever. And it was also still warm, so there was this massive bloom of oak mites and ticks and chiggers, and we even ended up having bot flies, which I had never even seen before out here. And so the horses were all of a sudden massively itchy, and the ground was saturated. And all the posts, we didn't use concrete because it would have just been tons of concrete and unnecessary, and actually would have taken away from the lifetime of the posts. They do better in the dirt because the concrete holds moisture. So the horses were really psyched because we just put up a bunch of really nice scratchers for them. So every other post had been leaned on and scratched on and thrown out of true right after we started. So we had to throw up a top rail to tie things together and give it some stability. The original design was just going to be the rope fencing with the webbing to hold the ropes together so they couldn't climb through. The horses developed this special art form of delicately climbing through the rope fencing. There are very long stretches of rope between T-stakes, so it was very easy for them to do. So we figured shorter sections of fencing with rope tied together, they wouldn't be able to spread the rope and climb through. So we ended up having to put the top rail in, and then the top rail ended up being a good place to scratch as well. And to save money, we didn't go with galvanized pipe. We went with redwood, and they started to lean on those rails and snap them. So then we, as much as I avoided it, and at some point would like to go beyond it, we ended up having to put a little ribbon of electric fencing up there to keep them from leaning on the fence. It's not on now. We'll only turn it on and off every once in a while, but they pretty much got the message. And now the fence is intact, and that's the design it became. We also extended the fence line to include the shelters that work best for the horses in the wintertime, because it gives them an added wind protection. And we bought nice soft sand for footing in and around these shelters, including a few other transfer loads of road base for the area we call Horse Central. It's a high traffic zone, and also for pathways that keep everyone out of the mud.